The Pelicans lose again. 5 on the trot to the Minnesota Timberwolves, this time falling short 125 to 116. But it wasn't Anthony Edwards that beat us this time. It was the other guys. But was it all doom and gloom? Let's talk about it today on Flock.
Ready?
So g'day everyone and welcome to Flock. I am your host, Lyle Swithenbank, at Lyle Swithenbank on Twitter and on TikTok, at Lyle Pels on Instagram. We appreciate you tuning in. The Pelicans fall to the Minnesota Timberwolves 125 to 116 despite leading coming into the last quarter. You would not read about it. The Pelicans fought tooth and nail despite being completely undermanned, outclassed. The resumes were completely lopsided and they did everything they could, but sometimes talent just wins out. And that's the disappointing part of this, because the Pelicans played exactly how you want them to play until the last quarter, where they sort of died in the behind. Now, I want to start off by calling out a player who has come into the starting lineup amongst all of the injuries. Two-way guy, and that man is Bryce McGowens. Starting shooting guard for the Pelicans. 33 minutes tonight. He had 15 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. 5 of 6 free throws. Could have shot 15 of them. Talk about the refs in a minute. Guarded Anthony Edwards pretty much all night and did a stellar job. What the Pelicans did tonight against Anthony Edwards, they held him to a mere 11 points. And he was frustrated. They were getting him in foul trouble. He was doing stupid push-off fouls, and you could see that he did not have it going. We did everything right to the game plan, and unfortunately, the rest of the talent stepped up, and you fall short from there. But what happened with that man was very impressive. I loved his attack. He got downhill, he got to the basket. For the most part, he finished. If he didn't, he got fouled. He was moving the basketball. He knew when to push it. He knew when to pull back. And he has absolutely taken heed of all of the things that he's been told in these practices throughout his career, albeit being quite short. And he attacked. And he played well. And he moved the basketball. And I can't fault what he did tonight. So, that'll be a key takeaway at the end, is that Bryce McGowens, he had a 23-point night the other night. Had a bit of a quieter one the other night, last night. And then today, finishes off with 15 while defending the best player and holds him to 11. Hats off. If I had a hat on, I'd take it off. Unfortunately, I don't. And if you're on audio, you wouldn't know anyway. So, as I said, the Pelicans fall despite playing really, really well. And it all started from the jump. Little bit of an arm wrestle back and forth. First quarter, the Minnesota Timberwolves jump out 35 points to 30. And it was because of a bit of a slow start, right? We hit 2 threes. Jeremiah Fears came out really aggressive. But the continuing back-to-back trading punches, threes falling, getting out in transition, dunks. Second quarter, 32 to 27 to the Pelicans. Third quarter, 28 to 26 to the Pelicans. You win a third quarter. And then the tug of war sort of got pulled away a little bit. We started the first the first 9 possessions. We went 1 of 9 in terms of shots. 37 to 26 in that last quarter, which is just not really good enough. And it was that they were just better. And there are going to be nights, and it's going to be more often than not with the guys that we've got, unfortunately, while we cut our teeth, all these young guys, you're going to get outclassed. And you've got, on this team, you go down the list for them. McDaniels was fantastic. Randall, former All-Star. Gobert, former All-Star Defensive Player of the Year. Anthony Edwards, we know what he's all about. DiVincenzo's a great player. Mike Conley, former All-Star, great point guard. Naz Reid, Sixth Man of the Year. Clark, Shannon, Dillingham, these young guys that came in and contributed and are learning from insert All-Star or All-Defensive Player's name here, while being very well coached by Chris Finch. So you're looking at a great outfit. What I was impressed about is that you were competitive and you made them have to react. In this one, it was our execution that let us down, not so much what Minnesota did. They contributed to that by, throwing that god-awful zone to us, which for some reason we can't play against a zone, which is quite disappointing because we play a lot of it throughout our junior years, and these guys are quite close to their junior years. So it was a little bit difficult to watch that they just couldn't work out how they were going to adapt to that zone. And when it went to man, it was, much easier for us to score. We started to do what we wanted to do. Before the game, or at the training press conference, James Borrego talked about what they've worked on. And the problem that the Pelicans had is this, late game execution. Unfortunately, the late game became the entire fourth quarter in this one. But being able to finish games is so critical, particularly when you've got teams neck and neck. You need to be able to close these games. Unfortunately, in this one, the Timberwolves just figured it out. They started doing exactly what we had done to them for the first three quarters. First three quarters, we were trapping, we were turning the ball over, we were making them uncomfortable, we were taking the ball out of Anthony Edwards' hands. And the Minnesota Timberwolves just kept coming, kept working out what they wanted to do, adjusting, finding the right people. Naz Reid was fantastic for them as that sort of secondary and bench scorer / facilitator. He played a great game, and I can see why they've given him plenty of money. McDaniels was another guy that was doing it at both ends. And you watch these other guys step up, and when that happens, well, it makes it mighty difficult because you can't take away everything. If you want to double team Anthony Edwards every time, it means there's someone open. And these, teams that have been together and had a bit of success for a while, they know each other's tendencies. They know how to put each other in a position to be successful, and that's what we saw tonight. What I'd love to take away from this is that I think we have enough talent down the line, particularly with these young guys coming through, to one day be able to compete with them. You keep this core together, you take your lumps now. I think later on in the season, we're going to win some of these games. It's going to be a couple that we steal. This is a development year now, fortunately. Hooray. Another development year. Let's call it that. It really is going to be difficult if they continue to not let guys, or if they let guys not take their lumps, right? We need to get as many minutes into these young guys. Fortunately, at the moment, we have guys out, which means that we can play these guys and work out what we've got. We're seeing a lot of Carlo, we're seeing a lot of Hawkins, Peavy. These guys are all getting a good run. Fears and Queen, of course. When guys like Poole and Herb and eventually Zion at some point, Eve coming back, you want to be making sure that these young guys that we don't know what they are and their full potential are getting the opportunity to show out. But for these injuries, we don't see much of Bryce McGowens, Trey Alexander. We don't know what we've got there. And the whole point of those, two-way players is have a little backup that'll go play in your G League team, but then also be able to come and contribute with the league team. If they're not getting any minutes, well, there's not any point, right? So you might as well just leave them down there. So I liked what we saw tonight from everyone. The better team won. That was the reality of this. And I don't really subscribe to moral victories or anything like that, but there were good things we could take away from it. And this is going to be a really boring pod if every episode we go doom and gloom. Oh, this is sell the team and bring out your dad, all that sort of carry on. Like, what's the point? So might as well unpack what happened today. So let's do it. So let's go to the stats. What do we do well? So in this one, Carlo returned. He'd been out for a little while, but came back and looked fantastic. Athletic, moving, dunking the ball, dunking everything. He's athlete, he can run. Man, he can run. And he impacted a lot of their shots throughout, which was good. I was very impressed with him. So we shot 45% to their, 0.3 to their 45%, 0.7%. So 42 made shots to 43 of 92 and of 95 respectively. Unfortunately, in this one, we could not shoot threes whatsoever, which has been the bane of our existence for as long as we've watched the Pelicans. 7 of 25, 28%. You cannot go through a whole game and shoot 7 threes. You will get killed every single time. They hit 15 of 38, nearly 40%. The rest is history, right? Yeah, they hit a lot late when the game opened up a little bit more. But even so, you get close. They hit a 3. You can't answer. You get sucked into playing, the 3-point shootout, and you're just not as good. Guys like DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Clark, that's what these guys do. Conley, that's tough. Rebounds, we lost 49 to 43. Rudy Gobert, again, massive effort from him. He is a giant, and we do not have players that can match up with that, unfortunately. You have to just sort of hope you can keep him away from the basket. Fast break points, they had 23 to 16, and a lot of that came at the end as well, with our advancing the ball, doing exactly what we had done. Disappointingly, that we couldn't continue that. Steals 11 to 5. That's a testament to us. 11 steals. We made them uncomfortable. I love the backcourt trapping. I thought it was so clever. Anthony Edwards adjust cross half court. Bang, you've trapped him in the corner. Now what? Let someone else beat you. That's great, but then you have to recover, and you need to trust the players behind you to cover your behind because you're trapped all the way out. Blocks 10 to 3. That was always going to happen in favour of Minnesota. Points off turnovers 23 to 16. So, again, when we turned them over, we went and scored. How good's that? We wouldn't read about it. Fortunately, those 2s were not quite as good as 3s. So we had 12 turnovers. They had a whopping 19. So you get 26 points off 19 from fast break. 23 off 19. Which, you probably could have got a few more. But that's also a credit to their transition defense. And also the fact that we would get in the paint, lay the ball up, and get hacked to all Billy-O and, you get nothing. You get nothing. That's okay. We'll get to the refs. I'll save that tirade because that was atrocious. And we can... We'll park this chat. I'll come back to the refs. Don't get me started. Now, for us, all 5 starters in double digits, as well as Jose Alvarado off the bench. 21 for Trey, 20 for Bay, 12 for Queen, 15 for McGowens, and 20 for Jeremiah Fears. What I liked is that every single player except Trey Alexander had multiple rebounds. That is how we have to be as a team. Everyone hunting rebounds. I mean, Trey Alexander played 4 minutes. He got a bagel. He didn't do anything. He was running cardio out there. So that's fine. Everyone else, 7 for Trey, 6 for Bay. How's that? Set a beat. 4 for Queen, 3 for McGowan, 7 for Fears, 3 for Hawkins, 6 for Matkovic, 4 for Peavy, and 3 for Jose. Every single player went and got multiple rebounds, and that's what you're going to have to do. And I loved it. Now, the assists is also something I love. Trey Murphy had 8 in this one. And after having a really big game against Minnesota last game, they had to take some stuff away from him. He started off really good. Then they started getting up under him, disrupting him a bit more. What I liked is that he still managed to impact the game, despite the fact they'll make it difficult for him. 8 assists is awesome from Trey. and it shows the amount of attention he was getting and his ability to slow down and put other players in a position of success. 7 of 17 shooting, had 2 steals as well. He missed all of his threes, which is rare from Trey, but 7 of 8 free throws and only 2 turnovers. Look, this was a difficult game. The one thing that they talked about, Borrego had talked about, is that you had that day of training after playing the team to study everything that happened in that game and then adjust. But that works both ways. So we get to adapt, but also Minnesota are sitting there going, all right, so hang on, how did they get so close? How did they get us to overtime? What do we need to do better? And so those adjustments happen both ways. The difficulty is they adjusted a little bit better than us. So 24 Bay, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals, 8 of 17, missed all his threes as well. There's a theme to this. He had 5 attempts. He had 4 of 4 free throws, no turnovers, plus 3. Queen, 29 minutes, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, 4 of 9 shooting, hit 4 free throws. Again, hacked to live in daylights. Only 1 turnover, -4. One of his better games, plus minus wise anyway. Again, doing everything that you wanted him to do. They started taking away his ability to create as well. And also, potential assists would have been way higher. We couldn't hit layups, which was disappointing, is the word I'll use. McGowens, as I said, 15, 3 and 5, 1 and 1, 5 of 12, missed his 3 threes. Again, 5 of 6 and 0 turnovers, while also guarding Anthony Edwards. And then Jeremiah Fears played 33 minutes and 33 seconds, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 8 of 17, 2 of 2 from 3. He's the only guy that could hit one, pretty much. And then he had 3 turnovers, but he's a +5. And I thought Jeremiah Fears had a great game. There was one of the plays, he got the ball, it might have been off a rebound, and went from coast to coast and scored in 3 seconds. And that was ridiculous. He just snaked through them all and laid the ball up. The man is a talent. I'm not going to do comparisons yet, but there are shades of a number of very talented players that Jeremiah Fears emulate. And I don't want to put, little side-by-side comparisons of early stats, but he scored 20 points again. Is the game starting to slow down a little bit for him? I'm starting to see it. He's moving at pace. And yeah, there's going to be some stinkers. But I'm enjoying the ride at the minute. He's playing great. Hawkins, 7 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 of 6 from shooting, and hit 2 of 4 from 3. 1 turnover. He was a -10. I liked his stroke. He hit a couple of threes, which was more than most of them. They're starting to run a few plays from him. He's just got to be confident in taking his shot. He is a professional shooter. Shoot the ball. Honestly, just shoot the ball. That's all we want you to do. That's your whole job. Anyway, he had a wicked block. He did have a very good chase down block, which I was impressed about. Carlo came back. He played 18 minutes, 8 and 6, 1 assist, 1 block, 4 of 5 shooting. Man, he can dunk everything. I love Carlo. I am a Carlo crazy. Certified. He is an absolute weapon. And I loved what he did tonight. And I also love that he just dives to the basket every time, points for a lob. Doesn't matter where it's coming, he'll try to catch it and dunk it. And there was some awful lobs thrown to him. He still caught them. PV cooled off. He had 0 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. It wasn't his best game. He struggled a bit in this one and got caught in the foul trouble a little bit. Hand in the cookie jar. It was a rookie game for him. That's okay. They didn't go with him too much, so it was hard to get into rhythm. Jose played 22 minutes off the bench, had 13. 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 5 of 8, 3 of 5 from 3. -16. It's difficult with Jose. I enjoy what he does. I enjoy the pace that he plays with. He's a great leader of this young team. He's the hardest critic on himself from all reports. He is the heart and soul of this team. But there are times where he does a little bit too much. And I think there's a lot of guys on this team that throughout the journey have done a little bit too much, but he really is trying to put the team on the back at times where we didn't need Superman. We just needed you to bring the ball up and move it. And unfortunately, there are some costly turnovers that have come from that in the last few games. Not to say that this game was won or lost by a Jose turnover, because it was absolutely not, but it's tricky with him because he does so many things right, and then there's a critical live ball turnover once again. You get stripped or you airball a transition three. It makes it a little bit tricky, but that's okay. It's not any worse than anyone else. Trey Alexander, 4.5 minutes, did nothing, missed his 2 shots, had a foul, so it was -2. Overall, I thought this was a fun game. I enjoyed watching it. It was execution. Like I said, execution down the stretch is what cost us in this game. We put our best foot forward for 3 solid quarters, like beyond solid quarters. And we kept trying to do little fake comebacks down the stretch in the last quarter. But you lost out. They had a team that made shots and one that did not. And that was it, really. We lose. So, next game is on Saturday night, New Orleans time. Saturday afternoon, I think. It's going to be like a 5:30 game or something, isn't it, for me? Hooray. So next game is, when this decides to load, 6 a.m. for me. Hooray. The Pelicans play the Nets at 6 a.m. my time on Sunday morning, so that'll be a bright and early start. But that is 3:30 p.m., I'm fairly certain, must be 4 p.m. in New Orleans on Saturday Arvo. So if you're going down there, go and have a look. That'll be good. We take on, the 3-20 Pelicans take on the 5-17 Nets. Maybe we win. I hope so. It'd be good to get a win, particularly on the weekend. The weekend is, that's for winning. So, we've got to keep this intensity up. We're playing faster. We're scoring way better than we had been. We still scored 120 odd points. That's way better. Remember we were scoring, barely scoring 100 just this season? I'm enjoying it. It's fun to watch. You're going to lose games, but at least the young guys are playing well. At least we're playing with pace and having a crack. That's all I can ask. So, we persevere. Let's be happy. What more can we do? We're going to watch this team rain, hail, or shine, 60-point loss, or, 1-point win. It doesn't matter. We'll be there. So, 3 key takeaways. Number 1, Bryce McGowens has been playing out of his skin. He's been really, really good. And continue to watching him grow has been a real pleasure. I hope he keeps getting some minutes. I think when the other guys come back, he's going to get pushed down a little bit. But he is absolutely staked a claim to continue to play for the rest of the season as long as he can with this, with the 2-way allocation. Yeah, really happy with him. Keep doing what you're doing. Nothing more, nothing less. You're defending hard. You're playing within the system. You're getting out and running. Yeah, love what he did tonight. Takeaway number 2, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Forget how to count. Jeremiah Fears could be as good as anyone. He could be the best player in this draft. So could Derek Queen. We know that. But the ceiling on these 2 guys is wild. I really like Jeremiah Fears. I think we have not had a dynamic guard like that for a very, very long time. And I really like what he's doing. Keep putting him in position to be successful. Keep building his confidence. Continue to support this team. He is an absolute pro. You listen to his interviews. It's a guy that gets it. He understands the assignment. There was a question in the training videos ask you about, you got 2 of the top 5 rookies in the rookie ladder. How does that feel? Does that change anything? He said no, because we're not winning games. That's the important part, is that we need to start winning games, and that's all he cares about. We wanted winners. These guys are winners. He's got the right mentality. It starts with that, and he's also got the skill, and, a bit of the attitude to back it up, which I love. So continue to do what you do, Jeremiah Fears. I think you're great. And finally, I'm going to do it as the 3 key takeaways. We haven't really mentioned it. I sort of alluded to it. Is the refs were crap. That has got to be the worst display of umpiring, both ways, I have ever seen. That was garbage. The refs should sit down after that game and just have a good hard look at themselves. Because that was crap. If I tipped up to my work and delivered a subpar performance like that, I'd be looking for a new job. You cannot just gamble on things. You cannot, and mind the pun, you cannot just pick and choose what you're going to enforce. You can't get a bee in your bonnet because some 19-year-old called you out for not doing your job properly. Have a bit of personal accountability, a bit of pride in your work. Absolutely garbage. The refereeing this year, holistically, has been shit. It was worse tonight. That was pathetic, I thought. Have a bit of respect for your craft, and for the game, and for the sport. You all want to be showmans, and challenge, and the challenge was successful. Yeah, cool. Get over yourself. It's not about you. When referees make a game about themselves, the sport is doomed. In any sport. If the refs make it about themselves and think that they play a bigger part than they do, no one came here to watch the referees. So get on with your job. And that's my key takeaway on that. That really grinded my gears tonight. It really did. Yeah, that's one of those ones. But anyway, we move on. We take on the Nets in a couple of days. We'll be back after that game. Maybe I'll get up and watch it live. We'll see at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Maybe I'll be up, maybe not. We'll see how we go. So, anyway, this has been Flock, a New Orleans Pelicans podcast. I'm your host, Lyle Swithenbank, at Lyle Swithenbank on Twitter and on TikTok, and at Lyle Pels on Instagram. Check it out over there. If you see that little thumbs up, click it. You see the little subscribe button, click it. And I appreciate you. And we'll be back after that game. So stay safe, and of course, bye for now.